Oh, hi there, director.
Is it recording?
How do you feel about your finished product?
You know, I am very happy with it, but at the same time, kind of bums about how it turned out.
And why is that?
Well, mostly because of how it ended up being rendered and submitted to the 48-hour film project for voting. I feel that wasn't very indicative of the quality work that we had done.
And what all happened with that rendering process? Why did it turn out how it did?
I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but we were trying to follow a strict set of guidelines that, if looking back, you could tell that it wasn't very applicable to every single setup and system. And so when they were trying to force a certain set of standards on different teams and different equipment and different recording styles and everything, it just made it darn near impossible to really conform to that. And by trying to do so, it provided a lot of just throwaway footage, throwaway rendering, just to try to get it. If you follow it to a T, our setup that we personally had and our workflow ended up producing an image that was far less than quality. I'd have to say, I don't want to sound harsh, but I just felt that we had such a good finished product that by having all this happen and submitting it with the quality that we did was not doing it justice. It was not doing the crew that had assembled justice.
What do you, for the next time, I'm under the impression you'd like to do this again. What would you like to do differently, whether it's for the 48-hour film festival or for a side project of your own?
Well, I think it would differ between the 48-hour and this is a side project that I had a lot more time to work on. But for both, I would definitely say that I would want to minimize dual roles. I mean, I'm not saying between writer and director because that's behind the scenes, but definitely being a director and an actor at the same time is definitely a trialing experience. Especially if you're on a time crunch, let's say for the 48-hour film project, that you can't necessarily look at the camera and set up your shots the way you do because you don't have the time to, so you're dependent on other people to get that shot. And if you do spend the time on doing that, then the acting might suffer because of the dialogue that you set up, or that you don't have enough rehearsal time with the other actors. And so I'd say the most stressful part about this entire weekend was the fact that I had to juggle two different roles, and I didn't feel like I did either of them as well as I could have if I just did one. And so in the future, I'd like to probably just act, maybe under Andrew's script or Andrew's direction, or direct again with having another actor that I can direct.
And on the subject of actors and team members that you're relying on, what are your thoughts on the crew you were able to assemble?
Actually, on the lead up to it, I was telling people that when I was telling people about the 48-hour film project, I used the phrase, surround yourself with greatness. I always said that, I decided to do 48-hour film project on a whim and convinced my friend Andrew that we should do it, that it was a great idea. And, I would have to say, in retrospect, it was a great idea. But when I was trying to tell people that I was going to be doing the 48-hour film project, I said to him, my sound guy is amazing. Like, the guy who's going to be composing my sound is amazing. He is a composer, he plays the piano very well, he, for all intents and purposes, can edit audio very well as far as I know. I was really stoked about that, And my really good friend Andrew, who's with me, is an amazing editor. I'm surrounding myself with, a guy who knows how to record audio, Paulina, who joined us, who was, the third leg on the tripod, really, that joined us a little bit afterwards. Had already worked on films for a while, a few different ones around Iowa, and maybe some beyond that. So she knew what it was like to actually shoot a movie. Maybe not on such a time crunch, but in general. So it's like, and when Nikki came on as AD later in the game, she worked on movies too, and she was an amazing AD, and I really appreciated what she did. It's like, I surrounded myself with greatness, and therefore got a great product. And I think what I was worried about the entire time before we made the movie, or before the project happened, was that I wouldn't be able to hold up to the standards that they might set for me as a leader making this movie. People are all experienced in one way or another, and I'm just this guy who comes in with a picture, an idea, a dream, who is trying to do it, but isn't necessarily how well it can be done, or if he can actually do it. But yeah, I love the team, and I think we assembled a really good one. Especially since we had some actors be no-shows, we had some crew be no-shows, but we picked some up along the way, and it worked out really well.
What would you say was your favorite part of the process?
I think my favorite part of making this movie was hatching an idea and just making it happen. When we got Thriller Suspense, well, before we even started any of this, we had ideas for each genre, kind of like a rough, like, if we get this, we might be able to do this, or, like something, well, this might be really cool, so when we showed up and I picked Thriller Suspense out of the hat, I was just like, dude, we could totally do this, and I know exactly how, because, in my mind, I immediately popped in with detailing exactly how we were going to pull this off, and I had just this vision, like I had shots in my head and everything like that. So the fact that we were able to take that vision, what I had in my head, and we were able to figure it out and have this crew of people just amazingly just pull together and actually make it happen, blows my mind. I'd have to say that's my favorite thing, because it went from 0 to 60 in 48, which for a car would suck, but for a movie, I would say is astounding.
Who's your favorite crew member?
That's a really tough one. I think everybody has their merits, and I know you're probably fishing, so I would say you.
As in Paulina?
As in Paulina, yeah, yes, as in Paulina.
And what does she look like, in case you're ever looking for such a...
Red flame, framed, blue hair, attitude, sass. That's kind of hard. I think everybody brought something to the table that I really super appreciated. Like, I can't stress that enough, is that, like, with Andrew, like, he's been my partner in crime for a lot of things for a while, especially with movies. We chat about it, and we bounce back and forth ideas. And I think, like, as writing the script and getting the idea, and maybe just getting, like, the editing done, it's awesome to work with him so that we can, like, bounce ideas off of each other, and just so sometimes because we have different thought processes, so sometimes I'll come with an idea and he'll be like, oh, how about this? Then it'll just spark an idea in my head, like, oh, how about this? And I'll say that, and maybe he'll say something else that takes us in a completely different direction, but it's a good direction. We play off each other, and I really like that, I really like Paulina's help. Because the fact is, like, I thought she was a great producer, got people in, like, if she wasn't here, we wouldn't have gotten Nick, we wouldn't have gotten Nikki, we wouldn't have gotten Carissa, we wouldn't have gotten the majority of the crew. And the thing is, like, that crew made it happen. So without Paulina bringing this whole network of people that she knows, that she's built over the years of working on movies, I don't think we really could have had as polished of a product as we did. And she really helped, get things rolling. Like, she thought of things I didn't even think of, like feeding the crew. She got Spaghetti Works to donate food. She got drinks like Monster and water and everything for us, and just, like, great set designer. So, like, I really appreciated that. Drew, I was just stoked to have him on board, because, I mean, really, like, how often can you say that you're a first-year 48-hour film project team, and you're getting this guy who knows music,
Yeah,
who
Drew
teaches.
was really amazing. Like, when you brought him on, I was really kind of nervous when you said you wanted to use the 5D, and we had to think sound, and then after I met him, I was like, it was like a breath of relief, like, oh,
Exactly. You know, exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Well, thank you.
the 5D is kind of hard to mess with, and especially syncing audio. So I'm really glad Drew got on, and he did a really good job. I think the final score is minimalistic, but at the same time there enough that just creeps me out. And even though we worked on this movie this entire weekend and we know the script inside and out, the finished product still creeps me out. I don't think I can sleep upstairs tonight. I think we're gonna have to cuddle together. You know, like
God.
I know Dusty's sitting here. And I just want to say thanks, man, for showing up because at first I was like, well,
we wouldn't have had Carl.
we wouldn't have had Carl. Exactly. Like when we got
Nobody else was
when I
scruffy
sent
enough.
Drew a text saying we got thrill suspense. I was, you know, and then you're like, Tresh wants to act. I was just like, I don't, you know, like I like Dusty, but I don't know if he can act. Like, you know, I've never seen any indication. But honestly, we were at a loss for any actor, so I was like, yeah, let's throw him in and let's see what happens. And holy crap, that was an awesome, like, how it ended was just amazing. Like, he did a really good job. And I mean, you did a really good job. You did Catatonic perfectly. Like, you played Carl exactly how I wanted Carl in my head to be played out. And so I really appreciate it. And like I said, Nikki was amazing. Nick was awesome. He was a great, like, second camera operator. Some of the shots that we did, I don't think we could have done without him because he thought of those shots and he framed it perfectly. I couldn't have it any better. And him as the figure in the mask, putting up with super glue around his eyes, airbrushing, you know, hot leather on his mask, squishing his face to get that effect for like an hour.
His nose being smashed into his own skull.
His nose being smashed